for joining, and I'm going to show you how I make my red candy apples. This is a small order, so we're not going to do a huge batch, but I'm just going to show you guys how I do my small order of red candy apples, or any candy apples, just a small order. So first we're going to start, we already have our stove on a medium to high heat, okay? So I'm just going to pour in about 3/4 cups of water. And again, like I said, my stove was already on a medium to high heat. Okay, I'm going to now put in 2 cups of sugar. And now I'm going to add in about 3/4 cups of corn syrup. Just scrape that into a pot here. And make sure you scrape all of that out. I'm just kind of letting that heat up a little bit to allow that sugar to dissolve. And you're just going to stir it. And you just want to mix it until it's like a cloudy effect. You don't have to mix it for a very long time, but I just mix it until it's nicely incorporated, but it'll give you like a cloudy effect. And I'll always take my spatula and just kind of go around my sides just to pull down any excess sugar that may be on the sides of my pot here. Okay. So we are going to allow that to start heating up. I'm going to take my candy thermometer. And you want to make sure when you put this in the pot, it doesn't touch the bottom. Because if it touches the bottom, that's going to throw off an inaccurate reading. Okay, so this is starting to really heat up. And we are going to allow that to start to bubble up. You can kind of see it. I know it's hard to see it on the video here, but it's starting to kind of bubble up at the bottom. We're just going to let that do its thing. Okay, as you can see, our candy mixture is now starting to bubble up very, very nicely. And we're not going to add anything at this point. No color, no flavor. Some people add it at the beginning of their candy mixture. Some add it at the end. Some add it in the middle. But right now, I'm just not going to add anything to it. I'm just going to allow it to cook. And at this point, you don't want to do any more stirring. Just allow your mixture to cook up. You don't need to put your spatula back in the candy mixture and stir it. You're just going to allow it to cook, okay? We're going to let that continue to cook, and you will see how this turns out. I love red candy apples. It was one of my favorite treats coming up as a kid. My mother actually used to sell them when we were young. She used to sell red candy apples, and that's just how I, just grew to love them. And then when the agricultural fair would come around each year, I had to have me a candy apple. So I just always had a real love for them. It's always been one of my favorite treats. So we're just going to allow this to cook up, okay? Now keep in mind, this is going to cook until it reaches 300 degrees, which is a hard rock candy stage. So we don't want it to exceed 300 at all. Not 301, not 302, not 305, not 310. We are stopping exactly at 300. We're going to immediately remove it from the surface because we do not want it. Don't cut your stove off and then keep it on there. Just remove it from the surface altogether. Because remember, even though you may turn the knob off, the surface is still hot, and we don't want this candy to burn, because once it reaches 300, you are really taking a risk of it burning, your mixture burning after that point. So just remove it from the surface immediately. So we're just going to let this cook up until about 250 is when I'm going to actually add in my color. Now, some people say, is it wrong to, should you not add it at the end? Yes, you can add it at the end. There are sometimes I just allow it to cook and I don't put it in until the end. I never put it in the beginning. It's just not the way I made them. I'm not saying it's not a right or wrong way to me, but I always put it in between 250, and then sometimes I'll just wait at the end. So we're going to let this cook until about 250, and we will go ahead and add in our color. Okay, so we have reached our 250. Okay, so we have reached 250 degrees. Now I'm going to, at this point, add in my color. I have Super Red. This is just the Sunnyside brand from Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to add in a few drops because I want this really, really red. I'm going to allow that to kind of cook through my candy mixture. At this point, once you add in your color, it is okay to stir it just a little bit. Now, normally on my red, just my original red classic apples, I don't add any white. But these are not just the classic apples I'm shooting for. They're going to be for a different purpose. So I'm going to add, because I don't want it to be transparent. So I'm just going to add in a drop, and this is just the Wilton white icing gel color. No, white icing color by Wilton. But I'm going to be very, very careful with how much I add of this, because I don't want to necessarily change the color of the red, but I don't want it transparent because these apples are going to be for ornament. I'm just going to add drop. Very tiny, tiny drop. And now I'm going to just kind of mix that. At this point, I'm not adding any more white. No more white. I only wanted a very tiny, tiny bit. All right, we're going to allow that to cook until we reach 300, and then after that, we'll be ready to go. Okay, so we have now reached 300 degrees. We're going to take our candy thermometer out. We're going to put that into a cup of cold water to the side. I immediately lifted up my pot off of the surface, and we're going to allow this to cool down just for a few seconds, maybe 60 seconds, just to kind of let the bubbles simmer so that we can dip, okay? Okay, so our surface has cooled down. Our candy has cooled down. See, the bubbles have simmered. And we are going to dip our apples. Okay, so you're just going to take your pot and you want to tilt your pot to the side. So that way you can get full coverage of your apple. This is, our apples are already prepped. We're just going to take our apple, submerge into our candy, and turn very slowly. You're going to pull that apple out. You want to shake off that excess candy mixture. And you're going to tap that bottom, shake it a little bit, and then there you have it. Your apple is fully covered. All right, I'm just going to repeat that process. Again, you're going to submerge that apple with your pot tilted. Turn it all the way around. If you get a little candy on the stick, it's okay. When it dries, you can take it off. Just want to make sure you tap that bottom. That prevents you from having a puddle on your candy apple, which is not the most attractive. See? Just going to shake, tap the bottom of that, and sit it on your silicone mat. Like I said, this was just for, I wasn't making that many apples, so I didn't need a lot of candy mixture. All right. See how that you don't worry about that candy on the stick. You can always peel it off, but see how neat our bottom is. Okay, so now we are going to just decorate them. Okay, so now I am going to assemble, well, we're going to assemble our candy apple with our ornament topper. Okay, so make sure you have some additional, if you watched the previous video on how we created the ornament topper, just make sure you have some additional green leaf, gold leaf next to you, because once we stick it through, it will kind of bust it open. We just need to layer it back, okay? Okay, so all we're going to do is take our Reese's cup that we made, and we're just going to, and you make sure that your apple is positioned how you want the front of the apple to be. So my front of my apple is facing the camera. The back of the apple is facing me. So this is what I want the front of my apple to be. And I'm just going to insert this over the stick. Again, like I said, it's going to bust open. That's okay. We know that because you're sticking it through chocolate. I'm just going to remove that excess. And we're going to take just a little bit of our gold leaf paper and just kind of put it around the side, just to cover that, to make sure that everything is all nice, neat, and pretty. So this is what your ornament candy apple would look like, okay? So we're just going to repeat that process. See our apple. Well, this will be the front of my apple. Let's see. Okay. All right, so you're just gonna just press that down. You want to make sure everything is neatly done. Let's see. That one didn't mess up too bad here. Oh, these so pretty. And you'll love the thing I love about these is you can just do them in all different colors. Of course, this wasn't one of those orders where it would require me to make a bunch of different colors. But I love the whole idea of it. Let's brush off that excess. That's so pretty. So basically, guys, that is how you create the Ornament candy apples. I think they came out really nice and pretty. Make sure you watch the previous video to see how we made these. It's really simple, really quick. Nothing complicated. And let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what you like to see next, okay? And we're just going to get that piece of candy off. Just get a little knife and scrape it off. All right, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and follow for more.